This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Steve Hall is with us today. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. If I sound a little hoarse, it's because I've been ill. And listen, this is my bag of pharmacy. It includes steroids, antibiotics, and 2 different inhalers. I've never used an inhaler
You
before.
on the roids? Hang on.
So I'm on.
Frank's on the
You're
roids.
juicing.
The roids have given me. Look at my hands. My hands haven't shaked like that since I shaked.
Have
Shook.
you had? My only experience of roids is the world's strongest men.
Yes.
That's a whole other
Who
show.
are roids on legs?
Do you know what? I think it's fair to say they're fond of a roid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I remember a storyline in Brookside where I'm afraid one of the characters, that was when they introduced the concept of roid rage. He got very angry because he took the roid. So just
He wasn't the one who ended up under the patio.
No, that was Trevor. This was Mick. I think Mick
Okay.
got into the roids.
Was that one of the first examples of roid rage going big? I suppose the Hulk is the original roid rage.
Well, that wasn't
roids?
that was Ray rage, wasn't it? Which doesn't sound as good. Was it gamma rays? I think so.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed
Ray
the
rage
rustling
is
of the bag.
rubbish.
There's an element
Does your dog get Ray rage?
He will now.
Sorry, Steve.
There's an element of ASMR to the rustling of the bag as well.
I don't know what that means.
You won't know what that is.
I think I'm getting the letters right. It's that where they talk very silently and it's meant to be soothing and therapeutic and you rustle
Never
things.
heard of
in
it.
Do you not know ASMR? Oh, Frank, ASMR. Find out what it means.
I don't like
Yes.
that. It sounds like what I
It's-
believe they used to call mumbo jumbo.
That's so the sort of thing your dad would have said.
ASMR? Oh, no.
ASMR, what it is, the young people like it, Frank, and they go round to each other's houses, what you would have called dossing,
Oh, yeah.
and they say, hello, and the other one says, hi. So do you want to come round for some ASMR? And they say, okay. They turn up, they plan these things.
Well, and they rustle their medication at each other.
They rustle. What else do they do? They'll tap each other repeatedly.
It's autonomous sensory meridian response.
Okay.
As I said, or MJ, as I call it. Mumbo jumbo.
And it describes a tingling, static-like or goosebump sensation in response to specific triggering audio or visual stimuli.
There you go,
But
Frank.
there would be YouTube channels of someone rustling a bag like you rustle a bag for an hour.
It caused me some concern the last time I watched the original Dumbo, that the name over Dumbo's mom's enclosure is Mrs. Jumbo. Which means that Dumbo's full name is Dumbo Jumbo. So if Dumbo Jumbo, if Dumbo ever gets involved in any sort of spiritual thing, starts talking about it to the press, you just know what the headline's going to be. Okay, well, mate, look, I'm not knocking. I've never heard of it before. It might be this time next year. I'm saying, I've just done my MS. What is it?
ASMR.
I've just done my ASMR and I've been rustled into oblivion. But I've got the old, the inhaler that looks like a periscope, the traditional blue. I've got that, and then I've got a thing that looks like Harry Potter might whip out of his uniform.
Oh, what's that? Have you got one nice wand?
It's a circular inhaler. Have you seen one of these? I want to show it to the people on the. Just look, it's a circular inhaler that you slide around.
I'm just saying that
And then
looks
you
like something I might have in one of my bedside drawers.
Oh dear! And then, oh God, I have to stop this. And then,
Now that's ASMR.
That's my mouthpiece, and then I pull that slide. And
That's my
it
mouthpiece.
fires white powder into my lungs.
Frank, where did you get this?
There's a bloke in Leicester Square sells them. He sells them and like crawling action men. It's an interesting combo of stock, I thought.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I played Kate Bush. I played Kate Bush earlier. in the show on the main channel. If you're on Decades, you'd have heard different things. But there is a Kate Bush documentary on Absolute Radio called The Strangest Thing on Wednesday, the 28th of December. I don't have a time for it, but it'll be, check your schedules. Well, I wouldn't be plugging it if I wasn't on it, dear. I'm on it with my partner, Kath, in fact, and we both got interviewed. Me because I'm famous when I work here, and Kath because she really is a massive...
Yeah.
She got some of her memorabilia out the other day, Kate Bush stuff, signed things and rare... box sets and all sorts of stuff worth fortune. That's why we don't keep it at our house.
And that's on at...
that's 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. on the 28th of December. I'm sure loads of Kate Bush fans listen. Speaking of fandom, by the way, I got sent a book today which actually, even in my illness, made me go onto my toes. I went right up onto my toes with excitement. And it's a book about Doctor Who and the Daleks and a sequel, which was 2 films which were made as unofficial Doctor Who films with Peter Cushing as a man called Doctor Who, is actually his surname. And they are brilliant. And it's a book about those and the pictures in it. I just want to say... it's a beautiful thing. If you know anyone who likes Doctor Who, I would get them. And it was sent to me by John Walsh, who I think did the whole book and everything. It's a stunner. It's an absolute stunner. It's made. I've had some nice Christmas presents today come to the thing. Yeah, but I'll stagger them, lest I should sound like some sort of Lord Bountiful.
I was going to say, good for you.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
As Christian Bale
I'm
once
holding
said,
back because normally when Doctor Who is raised, it infuriates Emily when I'm on.
I don't.
We disappear down a cul-de-sac.
No, I think it's fine.
If you and your friend want to share ribald anecdotes into the night, I'm quoting from a W.C. Fields film now. I apologise.
I got my photo took with Jodie Whittaker and David Tennant the other week at the Winter Comic Con. That was pretty special.
I got very emotional at William Russell. Am I getting the name right? William Russell,
Yes, William Russell.
Popping up again.
Ian Chesterton.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the longest gap ever between a character appearing on TV.
He broke a record. You'll be interested in this, Emily.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What's that? I am listening.
The biggest gap between a character reappearing in a television programme. And it was something like
59 years.
Oh,
and he's still alive. He's
that.
96. By all accounts, he's still sharp as a tack.
Oh.
Did I tell you? I don't know if I told
Has
you.
he still got the same style? I like it when gentlemen of a certain age, they never really, their style, they fixed it in the 70s. Fair enough. And they've still got a sideburn, a white sideburn.
Yes, it's...
Do you like that, Frank?
He's retained that, certainly. Did I tell you that on the 23rd of November... Did I tell you this, Em? I don't think Steve was on that week. But on the 23rd of November at 5:16, which is when the first Doctor Who was broadcast, I sat and played the original theme to myself in my attic, just as a Ron Gray and Adelia Derbyshire, that one.
How lovely. Was it just you then on your own?
Just me on my own, which is...
Did you have the heating on, or was it just...
I'll tell you something, though. I'll tell you something about Comic-Con. I've never known any place on earth where everyone of all interests and of whatever you are, whoever you are really properly embraced and welcome. It's a beautiful, beautiful... I know you mock it,
I do.
But it is so accepting. It started the accepting culture before it became a cool thing to talk about. So what about that?
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, sorry. No, you were going to tell us someone from the outside world, which I'm always excited to hear.
Ruth Jordan, one of our regulars.
She's as regular as Christmas itself.
It's one of the things I love about her is her regularity.
What else do you love about her?
I like the fact that she's...
We're already down to like. We're down. We've gone past the red ink into the black ink.
Okay, I'll stick with love.
Okay.
I like Jordan. I like Jordan as a surname.
Do you? Well, do you like it as just a single name?
No.
I always thought it was a sad day when Katie Price dropped Jordan. Mainly because I first knew her as Jordan, but also I once went to the British Grand Prix, which was a tedious experience. I like the helicopter ride, but the loud cars,
It's very loud.
it was like trying to cross a road that you weren't trying that hard to cross. Anyway, it was, there was interesting things happened. I met Krista Berg in the pits. Anyway, so I don't mean when we worked in the mining industry together, I mean at Silverstone. And Jordan had been invited to the Jordan tent because she was called Jordan.
Oh, guest of Eddie.
Yeah, and she said to me, I've got no interest in this at all, but, it's because I'm called Jordan. I said, it makes you think that what other names one could use to get invited to. But anyway,
Is
sorry.
that why she went back to Katie Pressure, you get an invite to our price, the old record store.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was very bad planning.
Oh, I know.
She gets sent a lot of KP nuts.
She said never underestimate the pricey.
Did she?
That was one of her sayings.
Well, that's,
Never underestimate the pricey.
It's good. It's not up there with Seneca's The Unexamined Life is Not Worth Living. But,
What about when one of my dad's friends sent me that when I had my A-levels? I mean, come on, keep it light, mate.
Oh, your dad's friends are an intellectual group.
Them and their mumbo jumbo.
No, I love a bit of unexamined life, etc.
Ruth Jordan says, I think the key to ASMR is doing something that would have caused your dad to threaten to turn this car around and go home. If you and your siblings were doing it...
I'm already alienated because we never had a car. We just turn our feet round for my anecdote.
But what she's saying, so if you and your siblings were doing something in the back seat on the way to a family holiday and it was irritating, what she's suggesting is like kicking the seat repeatedly or tapping, because there's a lot of repetitive movement involved.
Yes.
Am I right, Steve?
Yeah,
And it's therapeutic. It doesn't champion that thing. At school, there was always those boys who had the bouncy leg. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think it's like that. It's more. I think it's meant to be the physical equivalent of putting mint and tea tree shampoo on your head. That tingle that you get.
It's a sensory pleasure. You all know about that with all your roid meds.
Yeah, I don't really rub anything on me. Maybe I should. I don't. I have a bit of moisturiser.
Do you have a moisturiser? Oh,
yeah.
How do you put it on your face?
Yeah, only my face.
Okay.
That's all anyone sees nowadays. And I don't do hand cream, although a woman stopped me at... you remember the religious lady from Chris Evans's? She works on Talk Radio, Talk Sport. She stopped me and said the right windows in the day to apply hand cream. Because I was saying, Steve, hand cream, I don't know when you put it, because you're always using your hands. Hand cream is totally impractical. If it's on your fingers.
Yeah, of course.
I once put it on in the bathroom. I couldn't get the door handle open. I thought I should be in there forever.
How much did you have on?
I had to just pace up and down while it absorbed.
I've had to shout to my wife for help to free me from the bathroom.
Yeah, well, it was no good me shouting to your wife. You live in Oxford.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Mr. Peter Vernon
Oh, yeah?
has been in touch. Maybe Dumbo's mum was Mumbo Jumbo.
Oh, yeah. I don't think she was ever called Mombo, though, in the...
Was she called Mrs.
disrespectful.
Jumbo?
She was at one point, I think, sectioned under the Mental Health Act, if I remember, when they
Was
tied
she?
her. Well, the term they used was mad elephant on the sign.
That's not
It was
very
that
good.
was, you know, when you watch
Around the
Disney films
circus.
and you think, oh, I don't like this bit. Wish they hadn't done this bit. I know you get your warnings, but they come out of nowhere, those. And also, you don't want to stop kids watching Disney films.
No.
But there's some bits...
Was there a man who owned the circus? I'm presuming he wasn't a popular character.
Well, the human beings never really... They don't have a big say in the original Dumbo.
Don't they?
And then in the live-action remake, the animals are non-anthropomorphic.
Oh,
So the humans do all the talking.
that's no good to man nor beast.
I'm nervous. Well, I've got a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. I'm nervous about showing those older Disney ones. I feel like I should watch them again myself. Because even the Little Mermaid from 30 years ago, the kids weren't into that.
No. Now, I remember reading Beatrix Potter, and there's a bit where I think it's the cousin Bonnie character is a bit naughty, so his dad just takes a branch down from a tree, strips it down, absolutely canes the fur off him. And meanwhile, Peter Rabbit's dad has not only been killed by the farmer, but eaten in a pie. I thought, this is a lot of I'm doing too much explaining here. I'm like a human footnote.
And find your own plots. I mean, it's all gone a bit.
Yeah.
I'm having that, Shakespeare.
So I had a first this week. I got my first hamper. All right.
Oh, nice.
And always an exciting moment, especially as this one was totally Tunnock's. Totally Tunnock's.
No way.
Hang
That's
on, are
amazing.
those tea cake things?
Well, that's part of the Tunnock's empire. There's the Tunnock's wafers, the Tunnock's snowball.
What's the Tunnock snowball?
Well, I don't know. You know the stuff that's in the tea cakes is like a white, squidgy. It's sort of like sugar snow.
Oh, it's a
Slosh. If you imagine slosh tasted really nice. I don't know what it is.
It's very. I think it's definitely on speaking terms with the walnut whip innards.
Oh, it is. I think they are. They might be related.
I think they might even be bedfellows.
So the snowball is like a coconut ball full of that stuff.
Wow.
This sounds absolutely sublime.
And there's even like some of the classic tonics, like the wafers and stuff, have come in a dark chocolate.
Yes,
thing, more
I've
sophisticated.
I've only had a dark chocolate Tunnock caramel wafer once, and it's like seeing what's the phrase that you sometimes use? What will they talk about down on the farm now that they've seen Paris?
Yes, yes, it's true. How are you going to keep them down on the farm?
it, yes.
Yes,
Question for Steve and Frank. Is the dark Tunnock's wafer, I mean, dark chocolate in general, is this for the dads, really? Let's be honest.
I've always found dark chocolate
They think it's hard.
a bit grown up.
Yeah, because they think, I'll eat this horrible thing like figs while everyone else is eating nice things.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Or
hard.
because it's Christmas, instead of buying conveniently already shelled nuts, I'm going to buy ones with shells on. Is this what's Chris? Why?
My wife's a bit.
I'm going to try and blind someone with a shell shard.
Shell shard.
Why do you do it,
My
Steve?
my wife's quite a
My wife.
chocolate snob, so she thinks that here in the UK we're used to low chocolate percentages in our chocolate bars. We grow up not being that fussed about it. She lived in Switzerland for a while, where it's massive high percentages of chocolate.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, snooty.
she's dark all the way.
Do you ever get a fondue at home?
We very occasionally. When she visits her sister in Switzerland, we always do a fondue, and she loves a fondue.
Go for a fondue. Whatever happened to the steamboats? You remember that?
I can't fondue. I had a very bad experience with a fondue in Juan-le-Pin, and I burned my lip.
Easily done on a fondue. But I don't know why you've sidestepped my steamboat question. This is some terrible attachment. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
I will talk later.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So look, I'm going to do. I think I've decided that I've invented a Christmas game for all the family, and I'm going to experiment with Steve Hall and Emily Dean and see how it works. So you need a sheet of paper and a pen. Okay. And this is going to be a very quick game. It's going to last seconds. And it might be one of these. It might be an utter non-event. I'm going to warn you about this. I tried it on myself and found it perhaps the most difficult game I've ever played,
why are you putting us through
including Othello, which I found impossible.
Oh, Othello was awful.
I'm nervous.
So what you have to do is, from memory, as quick as you can, you have to draw an ampersand.
My goodness.
Okay.
Are we done?
I've stuck with my first one.
Oh, you've got to stick with your first one. Okay.
I know
Time
what
up.
I wanted, but I couldn't draw it.
Okay, so we're gonna put that video online. I haven't seen them yet, but I think it's a genuine challenge, memory and intellect wise, and of course auto thingy skills, whatever they're called.
All the things I don't have.
Yeah, well, we'll see how they
I
turn out.
felt quite frightened when you said it, I'll be honest.
I'm guessing that whatever you do will be beautifully. It will look like it's come from a stationery shop. And I think Steve Hall is the sort of bloke who might use an ampersand in his everyday correspondence.
It gave me a flashback to a traumatic moment from my childhood.
What, another one?
Yes, well, because I used to love Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was a kid, I couldn't draw an ampersand. So on my character sheet, I'd written Dungeons plus Dragons.
Okay.
And I was ruthlessly mocked.
I like that. That sounds like Dungeons had been invited to a party and took some dragons as a kind of a +1. Which probably has happened.
Question. Is this the end of the game?
That's the end of the game. And then I shall decide who's done the best ampersand.
Well, I think we know that because I was genuine and I stopped. I suddenly couldn't remember and it's half done, but I like it.
Okay. Can I say I tried this myself and I couldn't. I came up with some terrible hybrid hands across the sea, $ meets pound sign. I never use an ampersand in my normal correspondence.
No, well, you've got international representation.
No, I prefer und, the German word.
I had a moment where I thought it was the @ sign. That was my brief panic.
I'll tell you, I had an experience recently where I honestly thought something supernatural had happened to me. And what happened was this, is as David Baddiel and I, were leaving the Raw Variety performance, he said, "Oh no, I've lost my phone. Can you call my phone, Frank?" So he's standing in front of me, so I call his phone and he answers and says, "Hello, Frank." And it sounds exactly like David. And I'm looking at David and it really I felt like a great wobble going through me. And what had happened is Al Murray had took Dave's phone and he'd answered, and for some reason he sounded exactly like Dave, but there was like 40. Yeah. There was a period of 15 seconds I didn't tell anyone what had happened because I was so frightened to share in case I was dragged to the ground.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
It was. I didn't want to end up with Mrs. Jumbo. But then I fessed up, and everyone was looking at each other like, "Is it Frank, or did that really happen?" And then, oh man, that's my scary story for Christmas.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean. And Steve Hall is with us today. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via don't email the show because I don't know what it is.
I like
via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. I've examined the ampersand competition.
I would describe your role as invigilator.
I've been invigilating. The producer Sarah also took part. She did what I would call a sort of Scandinavian ampersand, which had some extra lines on it, like the Scandinavian 7, and sometimes the no entry O that you get in Scandinavian writing that looks at something like an ancient Roman might play an instrument. So the winner, I'm going to say, and I'm doing this purely on accuracy, not on artistic content, was Steve Hall.
By country mile.
Virtually perfect ampersand.
Of course he did.
This is the trauma of my Dungeons and Dragons experience that I remember. It's basically my underdog comeback story that I remember. I would have been 13 and I must have tried it 100 times. And there was a real I'm going to win that pageant. Like I'd lost in the first act. I'd been
This
defeated.
is one of the great underdog comeback stories. And then he comes back years later and wins the absolute ampersand.
Oh,
I was running up town hall steps in Philadelphia and drawing an ampersand at the top of the stairs.
I like that the pageant he was longing to win was an ampersand.
It was ampersand based.
I feel what it demonstrates is it's a great thing, and I do recommend people do it. I mean, I would describe it as a brief game.
Yeah, it is a brief game. But Christmas, I think, you're lolloping around. You don't want to be... I mean, when the Monopoly comes out, I reach for my revolver, as I think Joseph Goebbels, was he who said that?
Yeah.
When I hear the word culture, I reach for my revolver.
It's a bit of an odd game, isn't it, Manoj? It's like, let's all sit around and pretend we work at Foxton's.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, I'll pretend I've got a new Mini with a grass
Get one of
design
those
on
big
it.
purple modern chairs and some fizzy water and a clear fridge.
I don't like Monopoly.
But Frank...
Anyway, can I say that Sarah, the producer, was second with her Scandinavian ampersand. I'm afraid, Emily, and like I say, I couldn't say this because I found it myself. Yours was a non-recognisable ampersand. It's not as easy as it sounds.
I'm looking to move into the European competitions.
We debated during the music break whether everyone knows what an ampersand is. But I feel that I have steadily winnowed the listeners to this show down to a tiny number, which all know what an ampersand is. That's where I feel we are.
Frey Bentos from a few weeks ago.
The thing about this is that, and I believe you experienced this, Frank, we know what it is, but when you're put on the spot, the drawing of it is another matter.
You think you know what it is?
I did a sort of... slightly Victorian currency sign.
Yeah, it looked like a currency sign from...
But how was yours?
Mine, as I said, fell into somewhere between $1 and £1. Oh. But there was no plus or and element to it.
I'm wondering if Camber Sands has ever made use of its proximity to ampersand.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of graphic design.
I've been to Camber Sands. You have to be careful with Camber Sands. It's got some nasty undercurrents. Like ampersands, I find. Yeah.
Can I just some news I'd like to share? A couple of things quickly.
Could I say maybe Camber Sands could make this competition some sort of big public event with like large screens like they do on the chess.
Large screens.
Yeah, like at the darts, so you can be part of what is actually quite a small thing.
It is. I was just going to say, I think if you're going to organise it, Frank, I mean, I really want to encourage you because I think it's lovely you've had this idea, but just how do you think, how many people would come, and given that it only lasts about 12 seconds?
The problem with it as well is that once it's out there, people are going to practice the ampersand. They're going to look one up. You've really got. It's the thing.
They'll start roiding.
Yeah, you have to spring it on people. If you're going to do it this Christmas, don't tell them the day before.
Or just don't tell them.
Or they'll just be on the internet.
I think it could be one of the sporting crown jewels that stay on terrestrial TV, the Camber Sands ampersands.
Yeah.
And the final is over very quickly, and then the judge just goes, and...
No, it'll only be
what about Steve? Hosted by?
Oh, yeah.
Love it. What will you wear, Frank?
Who would host it? I don't think I should host it.
Why?
Because it should be someone like Victoria Coram Mitchell or something like that.
No, I see you as sort of William G. Stewart.
But people still not happy with me doing the highbrow stuff. They find the accent great in those discussions.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I had another present sent me. I got a book sent me by Peter Ulrich, who wrote the book, and it's called Drumming with Dead Can Dance and Parallel Adventures, a memoir. Are you familiar with Dead Can Dance?
Are they a 4AD band? Are they?
What does that mean?
Record label 4AD.
Oh, I don't know that. The Lisa Gerard is the lead vocalist, who's got a voice. I once heard a singer described in a review saying that she had a voice like an angel giving an account of the Holocaust. Oh. And Lisa Gerard, it really does sound like it's coming from somewhere different. And Peter Ulrich, as it said, was drummed with Dead Can Dance, and it's all about that. This is exactly, there's a lot of mad musos listen to Absolute Radio. You should try this out. I'm looking forward to dipping into this. So thank you, Peter. I sent it personally, as far as I can tell. And it's. I look forward to finding out the inside story. I saw them. When was it? National Festival Hall a couple of years ago, I think. Anyway,
of course it was there.
On the subject of musicians, we've actually had a request from Josephine, who said it's been far too long since Frank gave us his Brian Ferry.
Oh, okay. Well, the voice is not what it was, but my Brian Ferry consists of... I loved Roxy music very much, and then I sort of followed him, but I was less interested in the cover versions, though I did like A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, which was Ferry at his most Ferry-esque. Which sort of went, where have you been, my little son? Have you been metallic awkward? And it's, I like him when he's at his most staccato.
Which, could you give us We Are Flying Down to Rio?
He doesn't do requests.
No, I think you've mixed me up.
Have I gone too specific?
It's not John Coleshaw on Capital Radio now.
Here's the thing.
Rio.
Thank you.
He does it. It's a bit like Ray with tricks. He'll do it in his own time.
Yes.
Danny Tolhurst.
Oh, yeah. I remember Danny. Is it just the same people that text us every week? I think we've got the numbers down to about 12.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's a good number for followers.
Yeah, of course.
What do Frank, Em and Steve think will be tomorrow's tabloid headlines relating to the England v France match? Presumably puns are plenty. Okay,
Yes.
I think we can let that marinate. Have a think about that, boys. It doesn't have the level of excitement of the ampersand game, but it might be fun.
France get caned.
Oh,
I think.
will there be a Macron? I don't know if they can. That might be a bit posh for them
Yeah,
to
it might
weave
be
that
too.
in.
Yeah. Holy Macron.
Oh, lovely.
No, smoked Macron. If they're absolutely
Yes,
destroyed.
that's good.
But I don't know what he's got to do with it.
That might be more like the New Statesman headline or something. I don't know if they're making stuff. Okay, we'll give there's always a Zoot alors, isn't there? Or they try and incorporate one of those.
Alonso.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that would be good.
We also have, there's a few here. We've got Barefoot Blogger. Frank, I gotta say, you're looking in fine fettle on the new Three Lions video.
Really?
I thought you were...
I think he's just
scrubbed up well.
Is he just standing next to Dave, who's gone into a decline?
Au contraire, what did your partner say when we were watching it together? What did she say?
She said Dave looks great.
And you said, oh, thanks.
I waited a little
You did.
for the rest of the sentence, but there wasn't any.
I was sure Sir Jeff looks great in the brief moment he's in.
Sir Jeff is, he has tasted of the forbidden waters. That's my view of Sir Jeff. I think he met the devil at the crossroads and the devil said you can live forever if you want to and look great. I think that is the reward. No one else has tried it. If you score a hat-trick in a World Cup final, you basically have eternal youth.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Frank, John Hopkins has been in touch, and I'm afraid it's a rather damning review of my efforts. So I feel the need to share this with the group. Steve's absolutely nailed it.
Oh, this is the ampersand challenge.
Sorry, I should have said. Steve's absolutely nailed it. Then he's done
what
those.
if this took over from the ice bucket?
Frank, it's not going to take over from anything.
Okay.
Bosch, done. Next symbol, please.
Okay, yeah, Steve did absolutely
Yeah,
know.
but he's gone to Oxfordshire, Cambridge United and things. He knows he's clever.
It says a lot about my life. I'm genuinely thrilled by this win.
He's very clever man.
Yeah, but you've got ampersand scars from the past, from your D&D's day.
For me, Sarah's added an unnecessary flourish, but still passable.
Yeah. And for you?
Thanks for that. And as much as I respect Emily, now nothing good ever comes after that.
No.
Let's be honest. Whenever
Any respect preamble.
Yeah.
With the greatest respect.
yeah,
Whoa, here it comes.
It's up there with the best will in the world.
Which is why we prefer saying with slightly less respect.
Yeah.
And as much as I respect Emily, here it comes. That's just a pound sign. Then there's an emoji, and I don't quite know. Do you know the emoji man with the sort of like, it's like he's got teeth chattering or something. He's got all his teeth bared.
Oh, yeah.
Grimacing.
What does he mean?
I think, he's sort of someone who's experiencing a squirm.
What does it mean? Does it mean I'm stressed?
I think it means that it's the face you pull when a doctor puts a stethoscope on your chest.
Okay.
The cold.
Okay. Frank will know about that.
Yeah, I had one this week.
Did you have that as well?
I did, yeah.
What haven't you had?
Well, let's not go into that. It's early days, yeah.
We've had an excellent
Hold on, so what did he say about yours then? It's just a pound
It
sign.
gets worse. Then we have
he carried
TC.
on, sorry.
What about TC, tone control? Steve, arms on desk, smoking a cigarette, knows he's got it right, 9 out of 10. Sarah, unexpected serif editions, 7 out of 10. Emily, wait for it. It's a great moment for you, Steve. I'm going to let you have it. Unmitigated hieroglyphic disaster.
Oh, wow.
I love that album.
For that.
2 out of 10.
The only change I'd make to that description is I think Steve would be smoking a herbal cigarette.
I do.
Just for health reasons.
Oh, it's really got me down.
It's given me another of my great business ideas, which I like to share with my readers. I've met some people very rich out there.
Yeah.
What about if the idea of yours being just like a pound sign? What if there was a shop that, like Poundland, everything's a pound? What about if there was a shop where everything was a buy one, get one free, and it could be called Ampersand Land? Because there's always an and. You always get something and something else. What about that? Hello?
I like it.
No comment at this time.
Okay. I thought that was great. I mean, it's a slightly long
I know
sign.
you did. I know you did.
A slightly long sign. And they have the way they have the books at Argos, the catalogues on a chain. You need a Roget's thesaurus hanging outside the shop. But I think that could catch on.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Okay. Steve, we haven't really talked about what you've been up to. Forgive me, I got so wrapped up in my own world.
It's all good. It's a totally Tunnock's world. That's more important.
Yeah.
It's been the start of Christmas gig season.
Of course.
For comedians, and I did a gig in Birmingham on Thursday night in a lovely venue, but the heating had broken down, and it was absolutely freezing. And there lots of Christmas do's. They'd all come in their Christmas jumpers, varying degrees of wacky Christmas jumper, but they were so cold they all had to wear coats. I've never had a gig like it where I could see the audience. They looked like they were laughing because they were genuinely shivering.
Well, I once went to a record of the David Letterman show. I never actually made the show, but I just went to watch, and he deliberately kept the studio, like the whole audience was in their proper winter coats. And his theory is that keeps people alert and focused, and at every commercial break, the first thing he did was take his jacket off and stuff.
Wow.
It was to keep himself cold as well.
The logic of that, the audience were complaining to the stuff they were saying. This is, it's not the comedian's fault.
To the staff?
To the staff, sorry.
Okay. That's how you view the people that work on venues.
My teeth were genuinely chattering on stage. It was
that's... Could you see your own jokes?
Yeah, I could see breath coming off.
I would have just walked out.
No, but it's an interesting theory, because I have done gigs in places that were super hot, like in the hot weather and without air conditioning, and they can slightly start to slumber a bit. So I think it's an interesting idea to keep them cold, and they'll be bold.
And then I also this week I had I was reminded of this because you talked about the supernatural moment with David Baddiel's phone.
Yeah,
I had a late blooming phobia of dentists. I'd never had a problem with a dentist ever, And then my previous one, when I still lived in London, I had a full-on panic attack, was wriggling like I was being waterboarded, and the dentist openly laughed in my face at how pathetic I was being. And so I went...
That's not the right approach.
And so it had stayed with me almost more than a Dungeons and Dragons ampersand. That had stayed with me. So I finally plucked up the courage. Now we've moved to Oxford. I've got a new dentist, and they're fantastic. And it was my first. I was aware it'd probably need quite a lot of work. She took so long to calm me down. She was talking me through everything that was going to happen. There was classical music playing in the background. One of the classical radio stations was playing, and I was ready for the process to begin. And at the very moment she launched in on me, the classical music went dun 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 dun, and it was Beethoven's Fifth.
Of course,
started
I guess
at the very moment that I don't trust my own musical performance, and it sort of weirdly helped because I laughed and she laughed, and it sort of helped me get through. But it felt like there was some sort of divine spectator wanting to mark the drama.
One of my favourite jokes, I think, was a Ross Abbott joke. Was Beethoven arguing with his wife? They're having a massive row, and she says, "I'm leaving you, Beethoven. I can't live like this." And he says, "You can't leave me. You're my inspiration." She says, "Me, your inspiration." Ha 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 ha. I just saw it's a joke that's got everything. Respect. If it was Ross Abbott, much respect him.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I watched the second trailer for Harry and Meghan this week, and I found myself croaking at the television because there's a bit where he says, "No one knows the whole truth. We know the whole truth." And you said no one. Yeah, well, I mean, like, no one, but sort of we do. Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? No, well, I think we do know. Well, the royal family must have their own truth you couldn't possibly conceive of. Oh, God, oh, we don't have it, oh.
Well, did you see in that trailer they've used fake footage as well?
I know they used footage of, was it
Katie Price arriving?
Katie Price, second.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Never underestimate the pricey.
No, who'd have thought she'd have gone into that? And also, I think it's also a Harry Potter premiere.
Yes, yeah. And Michael Cohen, Trump's old lawyer.
Look, I'm not taking sides here. I don't know who's right and who's wrong, but you can't say no one knows the whole truth. We know the whole truth. There must have been a massive edit in between in which he did all the qualifiers and blah, blah, blah.
Frank, are we going to win the football tonight?
Well, what I like about the way the football's been talked about is all about Mbappe, the great French striker, who is brilliant. But I firmly believe that Harry Kane is the best striker in the world, having watched so much of him when, watching the Black Cockerel with my child. And I'm thinking if it comes to a sort of head-to-head, that the complete Kane will triumph. That's what I think will happen. Oh. By the way, we talked about Christ Hospital the other week. And I don't remember it cropped up, but I remember talking about...
Sorry, it's the idea of any other commercial breakfast radio show.
It's a school rather than...
By the way, we talked about Christ Hospital.
It's a school where the kids wear robes and long yellow socks.
Angela Barnes had done a gig there. That's her.
Oh, yes. That's it, yeah. Thank God you're here, Steve. And official record keeper.
Yeah, I love it.
And we were talking about the fact that the kids wear robes, and also that Gene Simmons, the Kiss-based guitarist, had done a reality TV show version of School of Rock there. And I made the point that it is a very posh school. They dress in robes. But in fact, most of the kids there are on bursaries and stuff and are not posh kids. They're kids who are getting a chance for a really good education. And Christ Hospital were very grateful I'd made that point, and they sent me a teddy bear in full robes. and two
fantastic.
What's the poshest
massive
gift ever?
pairs of yellow socks for me.
Brilliant.
To wear, which is very exciting.
I've done
Was
a
it
gig
from
there.
medieval
It's-
times?
You've done a gig there?
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's stunning.
How was the heating?
The heating was good. The
Okay.
gig was in the Round. It was. They had a little theatre space. It's one of the few places that's got a theatre in the
That's
Round.
not what you want with the ball patch, is it, Steve?
I've accepted that long ago.
Right.
I like that. It's very flattering of you to call it a patch.
No, I know exactly.
That's
Well,
that's
I'm a
an
very
underexpression.
flattering. I'm a very supportive kind of a guy. By the way, there was a Christmas. I know we run out of time, but there was a Christmas concert at my son's school this week, and he played bass. And he couldn't resist doing the Gene Simmons
Excellent.
crouch with the tongue sticking out.
What, in the middle of once in Royal David City?
It was actually Sparkle and Shine, which just did. It just did it. But anyway, it was enjoyable.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, marvellous. This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Steve Hall. You can text the show at 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Oh, I need another inhale. Oh, we had a good message about my circular inhaler that fires white powder into me.
We did. It was from 234. He said, Frank may be interested to know that... I'm going to start again. My mic, I'd slightly...
I know, I thought I'd gone... You know when you go deaf when you've got some
No, I'm going to
blocked
be
ears?
full disclosure. I was showing off and I was wrapping my scarf around myself in a flamboyant manner to try and make you laugh.
During the Kravitz.
Doing the
a la
Kravitz. And I knocked my mic. I made a bit of a fool of myself.
It's all right.
Okay, let's start again. 234. Frank may be interested to know that medics are trying to get asthmatics to use only powder-driven inhalers. These have to be sucked on hard rather than gas-driven. This is to cut down on greenhouse gases, and that's from Jim Gibson, who describes himself as a fellow asthmatic.
I'm not actually asthmatic. I've just
Okay.
got something at the moment. But that's interesting news. Whoever thought? I've always seen those blue-green inhaler periscope things as a symbol of peace and kindness and goodness. Turns out they were destroying the planet.
Like the wood-burning stove, which is my new obsession. If you've got
Your
one of those,
pet
get rid of
peeve.
it.
Yeah, they're bad.
Disgusting.
Bad.
Wood burning stove.
Oh, terrible things. I mean, don't get me started on them. I am becoming the old lady who writes to the
It's the
council.
particulates that they
Yes.
launch into the atmosphere.
Is
Selfish
that right?
things.
Gosh,
Awful.
we've gone very
Tax.
environmental.
Very Georges Monbiot.
Taxi Joe.
Don't know who that is.
Taxi Joe,
Taxi Joe?
the Green Badger.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Morning, says Taxi Joe, the Green Badger.
Right.
Respond, Frank. I feel
Morning, Taxi Joe.
The Green Badger.
Yeah.
Daddy Cool Cat. Taxi Joe, the Green Badger, says, didn't that Mbappe used to be in EastEnders? What a transformation. Come on, England.
Yes, I think he's referring to Beppe,
Mbappe.
who was Michael Greco, of course.
Lovely, Frank.
Who used to be advertising the telly. You could go and play golf in enjoy the Marbella sun with Michael Greco. It's like a golfing weekend.
Do you know,
could do.
I feel Michael Greco probably does a lot of enjoying the Marbella sun, and good on him.
Yeah, good on him. He's earned it.
Meanwhile, JTL, Jackie Bunnett,
Okay.
he's taken issue, Frank, with some of your... Whilst we're on the subject of the England team,
Yes.
Frank Skinner just said on Absolute Radio that Harry Kane is the best striker in the world. Now, what follows is a suggestion that you've perhaps been imbibing at an early time of the morning in order to say something like that.
Well, I had my
Essentially,
white
he's-
powder save the planet inhaler.
Essentially,
counts.
he strongly disagrees.
Okay, well, you know, it's a game of opinions, but like I say, I've watched him a lot, and I feel he's the complete footballer in many ways. You could play Harry Kane in midfield, and he would still devastate the opposition.
I think we'd agree here. We've all got World Cup fever. It
Look,
might be the
if-
World Cup fever talking.
I don't think it is that though. Harry Kane. I think the problem is for a lot of people is Harry Kane he doesn't have peroxide blonde, mohawk and tattoos, and hasn't been photographed with a supermodel outside the nightclub. He's a proper, solid, professional footballer, but a genius. That's my opinion. I'm no Tottenham fan. I don't stand to gain anything from this.
No, exactly. But, all right, JT.
We'll see who does best tonight.
We'll see it, JT. Beppe from EastEnders. Michael Greco.
There must have been a Harry in EastEnders over the years.
You see, if Mbappe had any humour about him, he would get Michael Greco to put a shirt on and come on, just for 10 seconds to shake people up a bit.
Yeah.
Come on, have a sense of humour.
That would allow for a lot of international knowledge there. I don't know if I could go on as a French soap opera character. That would take some doing. He's a great player, one day he might even be as good as Harry Kane.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Do you remember we did that ampersand Christmas game?
Yeah. It's become already a professionally made board game.
Oh, what? The ACG?
ITV are bumping the quarter-final tonight for
ACG.
live ampersand.
I think it's not on ITV, is it, tonight?
I worry that it might be.
No, they've broken the curse now.
Okay.
The curse is over. What's lovely is it had Sarah's other half, I don't know if I'm allowed to name, but Matt, he's liked the as an act of support.
He's like Sarah.
Yeah, he's like Sarah's. Don't say nothing about mine. Lovely, that's true love.
Interesting to be in a relationship like that. Kath would have said liked Steve's probably. No, she'd have liked yours, Em.
No, no one would have liked mine. Let's be straight. But she would have said Steve's is amazing.
I know she would have done. I didn't do one happily, so that was that got me off the hook.
You mentioned your Totally Tunnock's hamper earlier. And 245 has texted to say the white goo is referred to as mallow.
Oh, of course. Well, what's the marsh then? Is that mallow taken from some sort of damp area of ground in the early hours of the morning, gathered like cuckoo spit?
Maybe they've just been really friendly with Marshmallow, and it's.
I mean, talk about bedfellows. Those two. Marsh? Are you all right? Why did Marsh get in on the action?
Yes,
it's got no business
mallow.
being there.
What are the other kinds of mallow?
They carry on.
Swamp mallow?
Bog?
245 carries on. Once at a birthday party when I was 7.
The Argentine, they love the pampas mallow.
Oh, well, you know what that means.
What's that?
Do you not know what that means?
If you put pampas mallow outside your house.
Well, we know what that means.
Yeah.
It means. Do you know about that, Steve?
I've heard about it. I think probably from this show.
We won't say what it is, but it means that you like socialising with other couples a great deal.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Great use of the word socialising.
Yes, lovely. They continue. Once at a birthday party when I was 7, I ate 3 Tunnock snowballs, then went on the bouncy castle. You can guess the result. I've not eaten a snowball since. I turned 42 yesterday.
Oh, wow. I mean, you overdid it. We can't, that's not Tunnock's fault. Imagine, there's been a moment when he went up. You know when you make those volcanoes with baking powder? Have you seen those? And they suddenly, it all fires at the top. Must have been like that on the bouncy castle.
Is mallow
everywhere?
Does mallow? Who made?
Mallow
who invented mallow? Imagine
who invented mallow? 8, 12, 15.
What did you do? Oh, my grandfather invented mallow.
Oh yeah, I've lived. You're the
mallow heir.
You're the mallow heir. Yeah.
My father was big in the mallow industry.
Yeah,
the mysterious mallow heir.
He'd be called Mallow Man or something, wouldn't he?
Oh,
fabulous.
I'd love it. Like James Mallow III.
I don't know if it was named after him.
How do we know? It might be.
Well, I don't know enough about it. I've only just found out it's called Mallow. I haven't had time to research.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
By the way, another friend of the show, Martin Cheek, who you may remember, is a illustrator, has sent me his Christmas card this year. I mean, one that he made. He says, Frank, it turns out that this card is my equivalent of your Johnny Ray impersonation. I did Johnny Ray on Stars in the Rise, and no one knows who he was. in that no one has heard of Sir Edwin Landseer either. That is incorrect. I have. Edwin Landseer, who you'll maybe best known for the lions around Nelson's column, which he's done a little drawing of. But also he's done the card is a mock version of Monarch of the Glen, not the TV show, but the painting of a stag, which shows a stag rampant, so to speak. Not couchant.
Rampant.
You rarely see a painting of a stag couchant unless it's in a religious context, I find.
I agree.
Okay, thanks for agreeing with that.
Okay. Well, I thought I should. I would like to take us... We sometimes deal with... We call it previously on this show.
Yeah,
because previously on ER.
I just heard the jingle for it.
Did you?
For the first time.
Yeah, I wish I could find it.
Okay.
And I'll play it for you.
While you're looking for it, can I share this with you?
Oh, no, I've got it.
All right.
Previously on this show.
The idea is that a lot of people listen to the show on podcast, and obviously I'd rather you listen to it live because I don't want you to miss my fantastic music selections. Nevertheless, people have quite strong opinions about things that have been said, and I don't want them to be lost in the ether. And so that is why.
No, it's nice. I remember back in the day, it used to be Email Corner.
Email Corner, yeah, but times have changed.
So, I tell you what I really feel we need to return to.
I thought you were going to do a bit of Spice Girls there.
Yeah, but I would have liked it if I'd have done it in that voice. I'll tell you what I really feel.
Yeah.
I will tell you. Do you remember we covered a topic, I'm calling it the worst nickname you've ever heard?
Yes. I can't remember what it emanated. I discovered a nickname which I thought was really poor. I'm looking to Steve now, who's not on the show though, but seems to have a really good memory. But I was talking about a very rubbish nickname I'd seen. And some nicknames, I don't know why people bother, they're so terrible. And we had some good examples, none of which I can remember.
Yes.
But I feel we've got some more.
Oh, I mean, I think I'm going to go sensational.
Okay.
I'm enjoying, first of all, kick off with Samantha. My daughter has been called Chicken Boy since she was a baby.
Okay.
I was cuddling her and calling her Mommy's Chicken Pie. Mommy!
Right.
A bit American. My eldest daughter asked, "Are you calling her Chicken Boy?" I said I wasn't, but I am now. She's now 21 and all Christmas and birthday cards are addressed to Chicken Boy. We have Emma. I worked with a chap whose nickname was Figgy. His real name was Graham. A client rang and Graham answered it. It was his first day. The client asked who he was and then said, "I know everyone who works in this department and there's nobody called Graham. You must be a figment of my imagination." So he became Figment, which morphed into Figgy.
Yeah.
Even the
His
chairman...
mother calls him Figment. Everyone else calls him Figgy.
Even the chairman of the bank we worked for called him Fig.
That's
from
really,
Emma.
really remarkable.
Yeah.
A chicken boy. I don't know how Colonel Harlan Sanders would feel about that. Surely, can I make a point? That you said that, Mommy, M-O-M-M-Y, the American. That's exactly what Fat Boy Slim, Norman Cook, said to me after he read my autobiography. Did you grow up in America? Because you've written M-O-M for your mom. But I don't know what the M-U-M thing is. I've never said mom in my life. I say mom. My mom. And so it's a real mystery to me, the M-U-M. I don't know. Would you say mom of your mom?
I guess it's a read, but I wouldn't say mummy. It's like,
I would.
Hello, mum. That kind of
You
thing.
wouldn't say
What,
mom?
instead of hello, John got a new motor?
Maybe it's a black country thing, but
I think it is.
It's M-O-M for me all the way.
Okay.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Just to clarify, Ruth, our regular, has confirmed mom is a Brummy thing, Emily. We say it mom, so we spell it mom, not mum.
Oh,
Okay.
so that is... It's a weird combination, the black country and America.
I just wanted you to know you're not alone.
No, it's good to know. It's always good to know that.
And
You're not alone.
There've been a number of people, Tom as well, Mom is old.
Tom, as they... Funnily enough, I did know Toms, who people used to call Tom and Tommy.
This is interesting.
I remember a mate saying, I should Tommy Jones down Albury. It was a bloke called Tommy Jones. Tommy Jones. Sorry, carry on.
Mom is Old English, and so that explains why you're... Because that's what you would taught.
Because I am both old and English.
Yeah, sort of Chaucerian spelling. And used in the Midlands. Mum is the modern spelling. Mom is used in the USA as the Old English was taken over and didn't develop.
Oh, what an interesting... Oh, I love our readers.
And then Tom says, bug up Chasetown. Do you know what that means?
Bug up Chasetown.
I thought it was a Birmingham thing.
It might be, but it's... And also Faye, our assistant producer at the moment, has pointed out that the nickname came from my discussion of being Johnny Ray on Stars in the Rise, and that Johnny Ray had what I thought was a rubbish nickname. He was known as the Nabob of Sob because he used to cry on stage. But we talk about ampersand, but how many people know what a Nabob is? And it's a sort of an Eastern leader, but not generally.
I only know it from the New York Times spelling bee. It's one of those obscure words that comes up in word games. But it makes me think of the theme tune to Neighbours.
Nabob. Everybody needs good nabob. I suppose you do need a good nabob. Yeah. Sort of benevolent.
A medieval neighbours.
Yeah.
We do
I don't know, but it is a worry unless you're someone like Kanye, when nabobs become good friends. I think that's the problem.
We have a lot of mallow content. But before we get to that, I just want to share quickly with you, let's round off previously, because I need to share this. Lauren, or Laurent, I'm going to call her, it looks French, a co-worker, this is nickname still, we're on the subject of, we have a co-worker called Hot Pants, because the batteries for his vape started smoking in his pockets.
They could have gone so many ways with that, couldn't they? But they went for Hot Pants. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a plethora of mallow-related outside world interaction.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Milton tweets 3. It said, "Morning, folks. The mallow plant from which the roots were used to make the confectionery grows along riverbanks and in marshes."
Oh, wow.
And they continue, "For some reason, I always conflate it in my head with marsh-loving children's TV character Willow the Wisp."
Oh, yeah, as voiced by...
Yes.
That's nice to hear from John
Mallow
Milton.
the Wisp, he should have been called. So I could go and pick mallow and make my own snowballs.
We
I'm
have
not going to.
Giant Thinkhole says, all I know is that I planted one when I was young and something
Yeah, all right.
and something grew, but it turned out to be an onion. I'm still not quite sure how that happened.
No.
I mean, my thoughts and prayers.
I think...
But I suspect my mom, M-O-N,
Yeah.
had something to do with it.
I think Tunnock's would have been brought to its knees with its onion snowballs.
Steve Burgess says, "A quick Google suggests the ancient Egyptians first started eating marshmallow reserved for royalties and gods, and the mallow plant was found in the marshes. The root of the plant soothes coughs and sore throats, so Frank can dispense with his inhaler."
No, I can get rid of the inhaler and hit the snowballs. I've got plenty.
Not those snowballs.
No.
Yeah, you know.
I don't know what that means.
No, it was
Avocar and...
lemonade.
Oh, lovely. Sounds lovely.
I know.
Oh, Christmas.
Even though I feel we've taken a left out of previously, I'd just like to dip briefly back in there. Just a
Okay.
quick glance in the rearview mirror. My dad's boss at British Leyland in the late 70s. I mean, already I'm all
I
over
like it
this.
so far. Our Keith worked at British Leyland.
It's so our Keith, this. Was called the Frightened Balloon. This is because every Friday he'd go around asking, "You're not going to let me down," for overtime on the Saturday.
Very fine. Very fine.
That might be in my
Indeed.
top 20 ever.
The
bits of
frightened
correspondence.
balloon. That's a long nickname as well, but worth it.
I'd
worth
love to
the
know what our
journey.
Keith thinks of that if he's listening.
He might have even known the frightened balloon.
Maybe he was the Frightened Balloon. Did he do Leyland? No.
I told you, Keith was actually photographed in the most classic trade union pose outside of British Leyland, not photographed, filmed on the news, saying, things of management are not making this any better. And he was actually, as he spoke to the reporter, was warming his hands on wait for it, brazier.
A Jeff Brazier?
On a Jeff Brazier who was on
Did
fire.
he have a donkey jacket on?
He had all that. He had a woolly hat. And so look, thanks for joining us, Steve. It's always an absolute
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Who knows what might happen tonight, but I do think we've got some exceptionally talented players, and I just think it's one of those moments of football. I know there's things wrong with this World Cup, but when football just like it feels like everybody except Faye, who hates football and has said she's definitely not watching it, everybody gets. If England win, you just know tomorrow there's going to be a glow in the air, which is beautiful. And also the people there won't smash anything up because they can't get their hands on alcohol. It sounds like a great country in that one respect, certainly. So look, thanks for listening to us this morning. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.